Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. We have a postponement tonight, so we have broken out the older games. Our scenario is called Paper Chase. It was written by John Sullivan, and this will be the fourth time that I've run this one for our players. I often say that it's one of my favorites. I like to start this particular one with a quote by Ernest Hemingway. All good books are alike in that they are truer than if they had really happened. After you have finished reading a book, you'll feel as if everything had happened to you, and afterward it all belongs to you. The good and the bad, the ecstasy, the remorse and the sorrow, the people and the places, and how the weather was. That being said, let's begin our journey into the darkness. It was a cold, wet, gray time in Arkham, Massachusetts, that period at the end of winter where everything was being reborn from the gloom. The foggy woods all around were getting bright sparkles of green on the tips of their dead-looking branches, and small, bright wildflowers were pushing their way up through the last lingering drifts of unmelted snow. Despite these promises of spring, the gloom would probably last for at least another month, but the spring would eventually get here. Nathaniel, Nettie, Courtney, and Shirley Hardcastle sat in their cramped desks on the second floor of the Regal building in Arkham. They hadn't had much work in the past 2 weeks, and they had decided to clean up some of their old case files. They were going over a case from last year with their documenter, Una McKinney, at her desk next to the door, taking notes.
Yeah, the Arnold case. Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that one.
I told you the mistress had something to do with it.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Una, we got some good shots, though.
We sure did. Took his ass to court.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you want to file that one, Shirley?
Ooh, Natty, what do you think? Where should this one go?
That's a hard one to do. Theft.
Adultery.
Adultery.
Alimony. Shit.
I can always cross-reference it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right.
Good idea.
Yeah, to touch so many good hot spots.
Mm-hmm.
So as you guys are working, the little bell on your door rings as a delivery boy, not a delivery boy, a note boy comes in. There you go. And he comes over to the nearest desk and hands you the note. You're all sort of there together. He hands you the note and then waits for you to give him a coin or something.
Yeah, I'll give him $1.
Thank you. And he leaves. So as you look down at the note, this is what you see.
Messrs. Hardcastle and Courtney. My name is Thomas Kimball. I am not really sure how one goes about this, hiring an investigator, but it was suggested to me by my sister. Apparently you solve mysteries. Well, I have a real poser. I would like, therefore, to invite you and your associates to tea this afternoon, where we can discuss this strange mystery that has me perplexed, the details of which I would rather discuss in person. No need to alert the police. I doubt they could find the shoes on their feet. Sincerely, Thomas Kimball, 202 East Derby Street, Arkham, Massachusetts, between Peabody and Dyer.
Oh, that's curious.
Well, I kind of agree with him with the police business. The only thing they seem to be able to find is a donut shop.
All right. So would you like to head over to Mr. Kimball's house?
Detectives?
Might be interesting.
No?
And we hadn't had work in a little minute. It'd be nice to get something to do.
Yeah, some hot tea might be some hit the spot in this cold weather.
Maybe I'll bring my camera just in case.
Yeah. All right. So You head across town into a rather nice area of Arkham. There's a lot of uh, fancier houses. And you come to a two-story white colonial sort of style house. And it looks like the yard has not been maintained very well. I mean, the grass is cut, but there are no flowers. There are no, nobody is bothering to have a gardener come in and plant things. There is also a very nice looking car in the driveway. There's I should also say there's a backyard, and you can see the woods. If you know how New England is, there's lots and lots of woods all around. Arkham is stuck in the woods. All right, so you get out and you walk up to the front door.
Interesting. Yard's not well maintained, but that's a pretty spiffy car.
You think someone with this amount of money would pay to have someone keep this up?
Maybe they let it go for the winter.
That's a possibility. I know I hate to rake leaves.
So you go up to the door, you ring the bell, and after a few minutes, you hear some footsteps, and the door opens, and there it appears that there is a rather, I'd say, handsome-looking gentleman, maybe in his 30s, in an extremely nicely dressed, very well dressed. And he answers the door. He says, "Oh, you must be the detectives. Please come in and join me. My name is Thomas Kimball." And he takes you into the parlor and says, "Please, would you like some tea or coffee?"
Coffee'd be great, thank you.
I can get
Coffee's
that for
fine,
you. I
thanks.
actually put some on already. So he goes in and he's back in just a few moments and he sets it down. Well, now, I as I said in my letter, I'm not exactly sure how to begin this. It is rather an annoyance, but it has me quite baffled. Um, Please follow me and I'll take you into the library. And he takes you just down the hallway. It's in the back of the house, but it's one room dedicated to books. And when you step in, it is literally wall-to-wall books from floor to ceiling. There's a very comfortable chair and a little table next to it. And there's a desk, like as if it was somebody's office. And he says, "This is my brother Douglas's office. This, in fact, is Douglas's house, not mine. He lives here by himself, though we haven't seen him for a while. He's kind of a recluse, if you will. The problem, you see, should become instantly apparent. You are detectives, yes? Well, there's books missing from the shelves.
Oh,
You see there and there and there. I can't explain it. I'm fairly sure they were here when I arrived, but they seem to be missing, and I can't explain it. Any
You said
ideas?
your brother Douglas lives in this house too?
Oh, this is his house. Yes.
Could he not have taken the books?
Well, he hasn't been here for over a year.
Oh,
I see.
so they've gone missing recently.
Oh, yes, within the last couple of days, I would say.
Do you employ any help?
Nope, nobody comes in. My sister comes in every couple of months and dusts. She comes, and sometimes, if he's here, she checks on him. But
Do you mind if I just take a few photographs for documentation
of course,
purposes?
please, yes, whatever you need to do.
Is this collection valuable?
I wouldn't have any idea.
Oh,
I don't think so.
That's making me curious. They must know when you're not around.
Well,
You
I
haven't-
mean, I go occasionally out for a business meeting.
who
I'm
has the
only going
keys?
to be here for another a week or so before I have to go back to New York.
Who all has the keys to this home?
Well, I have a set, my sister has a set, and of course my brother has a set.
Mm.
But like I say, he hasn't been here for over a year. We're not quite sure where he is, but that's just like him to go off and go on some wild trip.
And do you know the titles of the books that are missing?
I haven't got the foggiest.
Not sure. Okay.
But you're the detectives. You should be able to
Of course,
to
this
figure
just
that
helps
out.
us. It helps us do our jobs a little bit quicker if we have some of these pieces.
Well,
That means it'll take a little bit longer, cost a little bit more, but we're more than willing to do that.
I myself have some business to attend to, so I'll let you get at it. But if you need access to the house when I'm away, I'll leave you the key. And if you have to lock up, just leave it under the mat and I'll pick it up from there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, I'll pay whatever your fee is. Don't worry about that.
Excellent.
And he steps out of the room, and you get the impression he's going upstairs.
I wonder if there's any sort of inventory journal or something like that, and I could start working on cataloging to maybe see which particular ones are missing.
Do a spot hidden or a library roll.
Look,
All
I
right.
say if nothing comes up in a day or two, we just buy this gentleman a few books and tell him we found them.
Yeah,
Like going on a wild goose chase.
true, and it will give us a few extra bucks, and out of
That's a pass.
Okay. As you're looking at the books, it suddenly dawns on you that these aren't valuable books at all. They're the equivalent of pulp novels of the time. Some of them become classics eventually, but as you're looking through, you can see that there's works by Mark Twain and Jules Verne and Oscar Wilde and Leo Tolstoy. He seems to like fiction a lot, but they're like a lot of they're not like books that you would find rare or hard to find. But they are well organized. All of the Jules Verne's are together. And so kind of by elimination, you can start to figure out what's missing from each group.
Could just buy these at a bookstore. What is he hiring us to do this for? We probably cost him more than it cost to replace all of them.
Maybe he doesn't realize what the collection is.
That's true. Maybe he doesn't.
Yeah. And my
It's
feeling
such a
is
nice
never
organizational scheme, though.
Yeah, and I never look at gift horse to mouth, and I never
You're
know we
right,
could use a
man,
couple
you're
bucks,
right. You're right. You're right.
It has been slow lately.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe there might be something interesting, something to sink our teeth into.
I think it was the sister, maybe. He said she comes in every once in a while. She has
Could
the
be.
keys.
Yeah, that's true, and might not have said anything, but let's take a look at some more. I gotta take a look around the doors, windowsills, see if there's any clues of possibly a breaking and entering, or maybe lock picking.
Do a spot hidden for me.
A regular success.
Okay. Jump back to you in a second. Una, as you're looking more at the books, you realize that there are two Jules Verne's that are missing. Master of the World and Mysterious Island. You also notice that there's one missing by Mark Twain. He seemed to have like the complete works of these people. And the one that's missing is number 44. which I think is also the mysterious stranger. His Oscar Wilde is missing. The Picture of Dorian Gray. His Leo Tolstoy collection is missing Anna Karenina. There are 2 Charles Dickens that are missing, Great Expectations and Tale of Two Cities. And there is 1 H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, which is missing.
Curiouser and curiouser.
I don't see any rhyme or reason to it yet.
You also note that most of the books, when you're looking at them, are well worn. These aren't just pretty books on a shelf there. Things
First
that he was
edition or anything
obviously-
like that?
No.
No.
Just cheap, not even expensively bound there.
I assume I didn't see anything.
Actually, you did. The only thing you noticed is that there are some scratches on the window. Now, if you imagine this room is lined with books, but in the middle of the books, there is a window that looks out into the backyard towards the forest, and there are some scratches, rather deep scratches, on the windowsill itself, like the paint has been scratched. And maybe what you got, a regular roll?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a regular.
Yeah, that's what you see.
Hey, Una, take some photos of this. There's some deep
yeah.
scratch marks right here at the window on the outside.
Oh, that's strange. And I will snap a couple angles of that.
I'll tell you also that you notice that the window is not locked. Now it's 1920s Arkham. People don't always lock everything up.
How high off the ground is this window?
The house is built up maybe 3 feet, and then the house, so maybe 7 feet off the ground, at least 7 or 8 feet.
Maybe someone clambered up using a stool or a barrel
Or a garden ladder. Yeah,
a garden ladder.
that would all work.
Yeah.
Just to take some books. That is so. I mean, look at this house. Surely you'd be going around looking for some other things.
Yeah.
Natty, I'll go run out. I'll go run outside and take a couple pictures of this window from the outside.
Good idea.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a look at more at this desk and this collection. Maybe he has an overall sheet. The guy that had owned this place before. Maybe something useful there.
Okay. Let's do Una first. Una, you walk outside. Like I said, the grass has been clipped, but there are some remnants of bushes around the house. But if there's a single man living here and he's just not into all the pretty flower stuff, then he's let the yard kind of just deteriorate. It has rained recently, and you do notice that the area outside the window, there seems to be a place right below it where something has torn the grass a little bit. So it's kind of muddy grass right there. There's no impressions, but something may have scraped or torn a little at the grass there. And you also, when you look, you can see those same scratches on the outside of the window.
I'll snap photos of it all. Just it may not make sense to me now, but maybe the detectives can make something of it later. And I'll take pictures showing the angle and then the yard around the area to see if there's anything, and make a quick walk around the outside of the house.
Okay.
And then head back inside to make sure that Natty and Shirley don't have anything else they need photographs of.
Okay. So what I'll tell you is that when you turn around and you're looking at the woods, you've got rather dense woods, maybe 30 or 40 feet behind the house. There is a shed, probably for gardening, but it looks dusty and probably hasn't been unlocked. There's a little padlock on it. There are neighbors on either side with somewhat similar houses. So the houses are actually not too far from one another, maybe 20, 30 feet at the most from one another. And there are little picket fences in between. But other than that, everything seems kind of.
I'll head in.
And-
There's some more of those scratches out, you can see them from the outside, guys, and it looks like a little bit of disturbed earth. I took some photos of it. The neighbors are pretty close. Maybe they saw something.
It's a good idea, Una.
Yeah.
So you guys are still in the library. You look in his desk, and there's correspondence, and there's nothing current. There's stationery, and there's stuff like that, but it's fairly sparse. You do notice a picture on the desk that shows two men, younger, quite a bit younger. They seem to just sort of be, arm in arm. You're guessing from the look that that's Thomas Kimball, and that's his brother, Douglas.
Yeah. Here, Shirley. This is
Yeah.
this has a picture of both of there. Just in case maybe the brother has appeared. Maybe he doesn't want the other brother to know he's in town.
Good idea.
I got some relatives I don't want to see. That's for dang sure.
Telling me.
So what would you like to do next? Una joins you when she.
I'd like to go
Tells you.
talk to the neighbors and see if anyone has seen anything.
That sounds like a good idea. Why don't I keep in here, check through the books or stuff? Maybe he had a ledger. Maybe he kept a diary.
Good idea.
Okay. So while Natty, you're looking around the office, you don't really find anything. And Mr. Thomas Kimball comes back in after a few minutes, and he says, listen, I am going to have to go out in about 15 minutes. Can I leave the keys with you?
Oh, certainly, sir.
Now, if you have to leave, just put them under the mat, and I'll find
No
my way
problem. We'll
back
make
in.
sure it's locked up tight as a tick.
Excellent. Is there anything else you need?
I don't think so. You happen to know if your brother kept a diary or a ledger?
Oh, I have no idea. Yeah, as I say, I'm not really that close to my brother. None of us really are. And I'd say the last time that my sister spoke with him was well over a year ago. She was quite surprised that he wasn't here the last two times she came to visit. Of course, she doesn't announce herself. She just shows up. But we figured that he's probably off somewhere.
Is that typical of him?
Well, not always. He gets a sort of bug in him that he wants to go see something, and he goes to see. He always goes alone. He's a very solitary man. I know that he used to go to the library occasionally.
I can tell
seems to
that.
like books, yes, but I don't know. I wish I knew more about my brother, but since he's gone missing,
Understandable.
the family. I should also tell you that we're not really that concerned, but we've never called the police or anything like that as if he were missing. We assume he'll just show up at some point.
All right. Well, we'll keep on working on this. We'll find out. You
Yes.
take care of your business, and we'll try to take care of what you've asked us to do.
Well, as I say, I'm not leaving for about 15 minutes, but
All right.
I will tell you when I'm going out. All right. So Shirley, was Una going with you? Where is Una?
I was staying with Natty in case I
Okay.
needed to take pictures of anything else.
Okay. So Shirley, you're going to the neighbors. You've got left or right neighbor.
Right.
Right neighbor. All right.
Well, which one does it, like with
if
the
you're-
window that Una was pointing to? Is there one that has like a better view of it?
No, the window is kind of in the dead center of the back of the house.
Okay. Okay, then
facing
yeah, the right one.
woods. All right. So you go to the right, you knock on the door, and the door is answered by a gentleman who looks like he's maybe in his mid to late 60s. He's a
Okay.
little hunkered over and he walks with a cane. And he says, yes, ma'am, what can I do for you?
Yes, sir. I have, my name is Detective Hardcastle. Mr. Kimball next door has hired me to investigate a theft. And in our investigation, we noticed that there were some markings by that window. If you look with me for just a second, sir, that window over there. Have you noticed any comings or goings of anybody in the house recently?
Well, there's that gentleman who's currently there. I
Yes.
believe that's Mr. Kimball.
Yes.
Although it's not Douglas.
Correct. Have you seen Douglas around lately?
I don't see Douglas very often anyway. He's kind of stays to himself. The most I've ever gotten out of him was a nod if we passed in the street or something like that.
Right.
But occasionally, kind of in the afternoons, I would see him, but he would go out his kitchen door and he'd walk into the woods behind his house.
Interesting.
Usually had books in his hand.
Okay.
He was, I guess he was an avid reader, liked to
Maybe
sit and read.
Yeah, maybe enjoyed nature as well. And you don't know much else about Douglas? No.
No, I think they got money, but they don't spend it on their yard, as you can see.
And no other people coming or going other than both Mr. Kimball's?
His sister comes every
Yes.
once in a while.
All
I
right.
see her. She's quite pleasant.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, sir.
It's been quite a while too. Like, I don't think I've seen Mr. Douglas Kimball for over a year.
Yes, that's what we've heard too from his brother. I don't suppose you'd know where he went, do you? Like, did he mention in passing? Nothing like that? No.
No, it doesn't talk to me like that.
Okay.
Well, I hope you find what you're looking for.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
And then if you go to the other neighbor, Miss Lila Odell, you get pretty much the same
It's pretty
story.
much the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, he used to go, there's a path. If you go to the back of his property, there's a path through the trees that leads through.
Do you know if it leads anywhere?
I've seen him. Oh, I imagine it might lead all the way to St. Clair Cemetery.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's if you, and she points to the street that you're on, and she says, if you go down to the end of the block over there and you make a left-hand turn and you go for about half a mile or so, you're going to get to St. Clair's Church.
All right. Right.
But this would be kind of cutting through, I imagine.
Right.
At all.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Of course. All right, Nettie and Una, as you're standing there, and Shirley is just coming back up the walk. Mr. Kimball, Mr. Thomas Kimball is like walking out, getting in his car and driving away.
Yeah, he left me the keys, Shirley. That way we can lock up afterwards. Shall we check around the rest of the house in case, there's something he doesn't realize is missing? It doesn't seem like he knew his brother very well. I don't even know if he's been checking the rest of the house.
Right. And the neighbors said that he often went out in the woods with his books. There's some trail behind the house. He'd go
We
out
can
in the
check
woods
that
with
out
books.
later on.
Yeah, we might want to check that out.
I hope he didn't go for a walk and perish in the woods.
Oh, goodness. Ooh,
That
Gruesome.
would be
that
bad.
would be terrible.
We'll say that currently it's about 3 p.m.
Okay.
because you came for tea after lunch. And
You want? Should we do that walk now while it's still daylight? You can
Yeah,
always.
yeah, before it gets dark outside. Sun's
Yeah, I
still
was
setting
thinking the
kinda
same
early.
thing.
Would be better
know
if
what?
we need any pictures.
Yes, excellent.
True,
Good idea.
true. You're absolutely right, Una.
okay. So you walk out into the back and you find it. There's definitely a clear spot where the trees are kind of parted and you can see that the ground is impacted from walking on it. The forest is fairly dense. The woods are fairly dense, but they're pleasant. It's there's still bits and piles of snow that are kind of accumulated in the shady spots. There's little what are they called? Snowdrop flowers that are poking their way up through them. Little purple hyacinths, grape hyacinths. The air, it's chilly because it's still in that period of time. But there's a little bit of light dappling down. It's a pleasant, gloomy, mossy sort of walk. And it goes for about a half a mile. And then you can see there's a break. And as it breaks, you can see that there are tombstones. This particular spot is way in the far back corner of the graveyard, and it's quite overgrown. It's got weeds. It's got plants growing all around the tombstones. Looks like this.
It's positively spooky. I love it.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
And I'll start snapping pictures just for the aesthetic appeal.
I kind of like to walk in the woods. I think seeing a little bit of spring showing up, and some of those snowdrops and crocuses and grape hyacinths.
So, as you are walking about, and you can see that as you get closer, as the church, which you can see right, it's obviously it's right there. It's a Catholic church. Looks very old, made mostly out of white. Clapboard, has a steeple, has a cross, and you can see that the grounds are more well maintained as you get down closer to the church. The graveyard's a little newer, but it's a fairly extensive graveyard. You can see there is a man in red flannel on the opposite side that looks like he's pruning some roses that are growing there. He looks like maybe a caretaker, but you'll have to get over to him, if you want to.
Head over to him. Maybe he's seen something.
Yeah, you go on, Natty. I'm gonna poke around and see if maybe Douglas has left the books around here or something. Maybe set them down one day and forgot about them.
It's possible.
But yeah, you go talk to him.
All right.
So, Shirley, you could do a spot hidden, and Natty, Uno, who are you staying with?
I'll stay near Shirley. I'm going to continue taking some pictures of the graveyard.
You can also do a spot hidden since you
I'll
guys are
spend
looking
I'll spend 10 luck and make it a regular success.
Natty,
Regular success too.
All right, cool. I'll get back to you. Natty, you are walking over towards the caretaker, and he seems oblivious to you.
Greetings there, sir.
He literally starts when you do that. He's like, oh, my God. You should never do that to somebody who works in a graveyard. Don't usually have people suddenly talking to me.
I better for me to have announced myself than just grab you on the shoulder now, wouldn't it?
Oh, I say that's probably a good idea too. Methodius Jefferson.
Natty here. Natty Courtney. Um, have you been noticing anything strange? Some kids or something like that using the cemetery, particularly that, or people heading over to that neighborhood from this area?
Oh, there have been people been seeing things out here in the cemetery again. Since
Oh, it's happened before?
Well, yeah, and there's been a couple of incidents in the past, 20 years, usually college students. I think that was written up in the newspaper. I've never seen anything. People come here occasionally. He starts looking around, like he's just gotten here and has never been in the cemetery before. He's like, but mostly the dead just rest. They stay where they are. And I make sure that everything looks nice for them. So it's getting a little bit old.
When were these incidents occurred? And do you happen to know who talked about them?
Oh, I don't know. It was in the newspaper.
Oh, okay.
But
one of the neighbors.
no, I can't think of anything odd or unusual.
All right.
Do a spot hidden.
All right. Ooh, extreme success.
Nice. You pick up on a couple things. One is his eyes are a little bloodshot and there's alcohol on his breath. Okay.
All right.
So, and of course we're in prohibition.
And he's working for
the Catholic Church.
I don't work for the feds. I don't care. Man must, a person needs to do what they need to do. Well, thanks for letting me know that. But you haven't seen anything recent.
No, nothing odd. No. I don't know what's odd. I mean, people do come to visit the graveyard every once in a while.
Oh, well, that's to be expected. That's normal. All right. Well, I'm going to let you be with you. I'm going to get back with my couple friends over there. So if you hear some noise, that's probably just us checking some stuff out.
Oh, it's your friends over there?
Yeah.
There was a young man who used to come and sit over there. He used to just read his book.
All right.
Sometimes he had a pile of them, like 2 or 3 books with him when he was reading.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I know you happen to know which neighbor you're talking about. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. And you have a good day. All right.
You too. All right. Shirley and Una, you guys passed. You guys are looking around that area, like you say, looking to see if there's any books. You do notice, though, your detective sense is tingling, that you guys came in along the path there. So why is the grass and weeds trampled kind of over here near these graves, these tombs? And these, like you saw in the picture, these are built partly up out of the ground. They're tombs. You don't see like footprints, but somebody was definitely walking around here in the last day or two and smashing down all these plants. And Natty comes back and joins you.
It doesn't go anywhere. Just this. I mean, do you see all this area here?
You want me to roll as well, Tom?
No, I mean, when she points it out to you, it's obvious.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Looks like freshly trampled. Good eye. Well, I go ahead.
I was just saying, by what? It's just weird.
Yeah. You find any footprints?
Mm-mm.
You'd think you'd find something. I mean, this is, when everything's kind of muddy and wet.
It's also very grassy and green. So,
how much, looking around here, how well, is this section, Is this seems to be visited a lot or not?
This seems like a really old part of the cemetery. So
Mhm.
no, I'd say
Hmm.
it's probably hardly ever visited.
I think kids might be partying here at night.
What'd the old man say?
Well, he would, he had a little bit of the,
Mm-hmm.
but he was still, I hadn't seen anything recently. However, he did mention that there was a man that used to come over from over that way, and I'm assuming it's our
Yeah,
farm
probably.
owner. He liked to read his book, to bring a pile of books and read them here, and take a seat on the tombstones and have a read.
What an odd thing to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Who
it's
wants to sit
like,
among the dead
It's
on their
quiet.
tombstones?
well, that
You're
is
right, it is
true.
Gonna bother you, I guess.
It
I mean, I
actually
should hope
is.
not.
It actually there is kind of a peaceful, quiet, cool, shady sort of pleasantness
Hmm.
about it, restful, even though
Hmm.
the dead are right under your feet.
I mean, the man had a whole house to himself. Why does he need to come out to a cemetery to read a book?
Well,
Something.
I mean, the brother did say the sister stops by unannounced. Maybe he was just
Maybe that's true.
not pleased with that arrangement.
He might have been more into nature. I mean, he liked to take that trail.
It's in his
Maybe,
walk.
yeah.
We didn't find any books though.
The
I
other
didn't think
thing,
we would, but sorry,
the
go
other
ahead.
thing he mentioned was that in the past, people have seen things here at this cemetery, and to the point where it had been put in the newspapers.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't really say what it was, but I figured we could do some digging over at either the
Yeah.
newspaper archives or in Arkham here. We could all go to either the local library or the university library.
They put that in the newspaper? What, ghost stories? Must have been a slow
Oh,
news day.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's at least photogenic here. I can say that. It
True.
has a certain creepy, solemn aesthetic that, I mean, the pictures would have been popular if somebody took pictures.
Right.
That would have been a perfect time for a Halloween article.
That's true. And nothing bad hardly ever happens in Arkham anyway. So
No, it's so
they
peaceful.
need a story. They got a story. Yeah, let's go look into, well, we should probably go back to the house and look, make sure nothing else
Oh,
has been taken and all of that.
we
But
didn't lock up, did we?
Oh, we didn't go that far away.
Oh, we could always check and see if he left for somewhere, maybe, then his closet would be empty and clothes would be missing.
Yeah.
And if we're looking for a truly missing person, then I suppose the clothing would appear to be in order.
right.
Yeah, let's go check it out. Because I'm quite sure the brother isn't sleeping in his old bed. At least I hope not. That's kind of creepy in its own way.
All right, so you have a pleasant walk back through the I keep saying the jungle, through the woods. Everybody do spot hiddens for me.
That is just a regular success.
Hard success.
A regular success.
Okay, nobody got an extreme?
No.
All right. So you don't notice anything. You do kind of feel like the woods themselves are, I don't know, you've all lived in Arkham. There's lots of ghost stories and weird things about Arkham, but then again, there's also something really kind of lovely and pleasant about, nature and the world. But you don't see anything unusual when you get back to the house. It's getting a little dusky, and as you get back to the house, you said you were going to go upstairs and check the room.
Yeah.
All right. So you go upstairs, and there are basically two bedrooms. One of them becomes instantly obvious that this is where Thomas is staying, because his things are in there. You look in Douglas's room, and there are a couple more little bookcases with more books in similar fashion. Nothing is missing from there. And you notice that all of his clothing is in the closet, at least most of it. It looks like if he left with the clothes that were on his back and not much else. There's a couple of wristwatches and cufflinks and things like that, but it's all still here.
Look, I'm gonna look through like the. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't expecting that. I honestly thought he would have packed some stuff up and been on a trip somewhere. It looks like we're looking for an actual missing person, not just missing books.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Suitcase is still there?
Yeah, you don't see any suitcases.
Hmm.
Yeah,
gonna
that he
poke
might have
around his
taken a
drawers.
suitcase with him.
Yeah, I'm gonna poke around. Like if he has a nightstand, chest of drawers, anything like that. Maybe he left an itinerary behind or a note.
Go ahead and do a spot hidden.
And I'll check the closet up above.
Regular success.
Okay. You don't find anything like that. You don't find medication or anything. And everything seems to be empty. And Natty, you look up above and there's a couple of things. There's like a shaving kit and a few things like that, but nothing seems to be missing.
That's odd. A man doesn't take a shaving kit?
That seems unusual. I mean, unless he left in some sort of hurry. And I will get down on my hands and knees and look under the bed.
Okay.
Just to be fair.
There are some serious dust bunnies underneath the bed
Well,
that he hasn't. His house cleaning isn't immaculate either. Although his sister should have cleaned that up, but you know.
Well, it's not her house.
Right.
I wonder, he must not keep a well-stocked kitchen. Surely his food, if he'd been gone a year, his food would have gone bad and then someone would have noticed.
practically mummified, I'm sure.
Nobody seems to be all that concerned.
That's raising a good question, Shirley. You know, this is starting to smell more and more a little strange. Family not concerned, person missing.
Weird. That is very weird. I want to look into this. You know, we're going to be at the library anyway. I want to look into this Douglas. Maybe find out a little bit more about him and his family in general too.
Yeah, maybe find out about the brother and sister too.
Yeah, exactly. They seem a little fishy.
Maybe not everything's kosher, if you know what I mean.
Is there an attic or basement that I mean, I hope he didn't just fall down the stairs somewhere and.
There would be an attic and a basement. But Shirley, as you were looking around, do a spot hidden for me.
Oh, hard success.
Oh, okay. You do find a picture of Douglas. Looks like a fairly recent picture, or at least recent within the last few years.
Douglas is a older man than the picture we found in the.
A little bit older than Thomas. He's probably his brother.
Interesting.
Well, at least we know who we're looking for if we find him.
I wonder, did Kimball mention what he did for a living, the brother?
No, he didn't mention. I mean, he mentioned that his brother had been a librarian at one time point, but not him.
Oh, that's right. He did mention that he was a librarian. All right.
The lack of concern from the family is. And why are they even here in the house? I mean, he said the sister, stops by to clean and unannounced and stuff, but then, why is he here?
Yeah,
why are they concerned about the inventory? It certainly smacks of something,
Unless they're planning to sell it.
But then they don't think he's missing, or they're not concerned. Like, who just sells?
Or maybe they
the
know
house their brother's living in.
Yeah, maybe they know he's missing, or they've taken care of him.
Yeah, the Belmont case.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Boy, you have a great memory. I'm glad we keep you around.
And she takes great photos too.
Thanks. Oh,
It would be interesting to check the court records and see if they've tried to have him declared dead or something like that. In the attempt to maybe sell his possessions off.
Well, we haven't
yeah.
checked the rest of the house yet. Let's check the kitchen
Yeah,
and the
let's do that.
pantry
Exactly.
and the basement.
All right. So you go in the kitchen and I'd say without, since you're looking for it, you don't really need a spot hidden. You can see the fact that there are dry goods that are in the pantry. And there are some recently purchased food for Thomas, obviously. But if there was any rotten food, then his sister would have probably gotten rid of it
I guess so.
a year ago.
You think they would have contacted somebody about him sooner? Maybe he's always been like that, always going off. And
It's possible. There's been, around this neck of the woods, stranger things have happened.
it's true.
That's true. Yeah, he did say though that he hasn't really gone missing like this before without them knowing where he'd gone off to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And just the didn't take his clothing, more importantly, didn't take his shaving kit.
It really rubs me the wrong way. What, you hire two people to find your books, not even worth anything, but you won't hire them to find your brother? What is that about?
So you look in the basement and it's just a basement. There are some old pieces of furniture. There's not much down there. And it's got a lot of cobwebs and spider webs and stuff because it doesn't look like he goes down there very often at all. And certainly not in the past year. Nobody's been down there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a good layer of dust. The attic is more or less the same. There's a few items, maybe a trunk with some old clothing in it. But other than that, there's nothing up in the attic either. So we'll say it's getting around 5:30. Library closes at 8 p.m.
We
Oh,
better
you
get
want to see
over
if we can
there.
do a little bit of late night or last minute digging for library closes?
And
Yeah,
the Arkham Sentinel really never closes because they've got shifts, of
Yeah. Okay.
Uni should have some connections with them anyway. So, I'll make sure to lock up here and then I'll join you in the car.
Sounds good.
Now we better hoof it.
Yeah.
We want to have any time to dig through anything.
I slide the keys underneath the mat and I join him in the car. All right, let's go.
All right. So which one are you going to, the library or the Sentinel?
Library, since we know we can get into the newspaper almost anytime.
All right. So you head over to the library and you get old Arkham Sentinels. And you start thumbing through them. Fortunately, the Arkham Sentinel is not a very large paper, just maybe 4 or 5 sheets. Sorry, I should know this because I'm a graphic artist. It's either 4 or 8 sheets in size. All three of you do library rolls.
Regular
I
success.
have no idea what I'm looking for.
Yep, regular success.
Okay. Let's see who got the best roll.
I got
46 out of 55, so just by 10.
all right, and I got a 32 out of 40.
That's almost the same.
Not very.
Yeah,
Not very.
yeah.
You take it, Natty. I read the last one.
All right.
So Natty, you find this article. It is not a big article. It's just hidden in there and amongst everything else. But you find this.
Recent sacrilege. Tuesday, June 4th, 1912. Arkham Cemetery. Constable Freely was summoned 2 nights ago by Arkham residents sometime around 3 a.m. with reports of a disturbance in St. Clair's Cemetery off of Derby Street East. Residents were awakened by strange noises and claimed to have observed a number of people cavorting within the cemetery. One resident claimed they were completely naked. At least 3 residents in separate but nearby locations confirmed the disturbance. When Constable Freely arrived 20 minutes later, all signs of the bacchanal were gone. Freely, who had been our constable for nearly 20 years, said he found no evidence of any activity amongst the tombstones. Likewise, there was no vandalism. He has asked residents to keep an eye open for any further activity, suggested it may have been a college prank.
How long ago was that, Tom?
1912, June 4th.
Yeah, it's 10 years
10 years.
at least. 10 or 12
Seems
years.
a little out of date for what we're looking for, but
Well, they certainly knew how to party.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like a
that's
good
why I
time.
figured. Yeah, probably a bunch of college kids, you know
Since,
how they
Yeah.
get.
since Shirley found one also, we'll give her, she actually finds one that's older still.
Local eccentric causes ruckus, April 24th, 1910. Arkham has long been a town haunted by superstition and Mountebank claims of
Mountebank.
witches and ghosts. Last Thursday night was no exception along Derby Street East. Mrs. Hilda Ward had been a resident for the past 37 years, and for the last 20, she has claimed to have witnessed things, terrible things. At approximately 11 p.m., Mrs. Ward ran door to door, awakening her neighbors and crying in the streets. She claimed that the devil spawn was stalking about the old St. Clair's cemetery, singing hymns to their master Satan. As neighbors tried to calm her, she described strange men who were not men, naked and hairy, with dog-like features and canine teeth. She said they were tearing something up and feared it might be a person. The constable was called and did a cursory sweep of the area. The only thing he said he noticed was an automobile some distance away traveling along Derby. His conclusion was that it must have been some Miskatonic college boys having a bit of fun, and the case was dropped. As it turns out, according to her neighbors, Mrs. Ward has been reporting these devils spawn on and off for the last 20 years.
Well, there certainly seems to be a theme. Naked college boys.
Yeah, probably some type of what do they do now these days to get into the fraternity? Some type of
Oh yeah, like the hazing.
yeah.
Ah,
And she's a dog. Maybe she even saw like a wolf or two. That's a little bit of a wooded area back there in the back where we were.
You know that those boys like to dress up at times, you know, in costume, you know, like the old Shriners and other, orders.
the
Speaking
big
from
bad
personal
wolf out
experience,
there.
Natty.
Yeah.
I wonder though if this lady's still around. Maybe she saw our missing man, Douglas,
Maybe.
in the cemetery.
Been over a decade. She may not be alive.
Yeah, I know. She's had to be old when they did this. I mean, we guess we could, but time it is right now. She's probably asleep.
Too late now, but
Yeah.
If nothing else turns up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, our best time to hit her is probably around noon. Yeah. She ain't anything like my old mother. My mom, in her old age, was sleeping till 10 or 11.
Mm.
Nice and rested.
Mm-hmm.
So as dinner rolls around, you guys probably have a meal. And then it's like work for the day is this has been actually a fairly long day, surprisingly. Um, I assume you probably go home and retire for the evening and you're going to
Sure,
pick it up
sure.
in the morning some point.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Meet at the office?
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll put the coffee on first thing.
Okay.
Do you think you want to check out this Officer Freely or this Hilda?
I really want to look into this family more. They're just, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agree with you.
I'm very suspicious. We can split the work tomorrow, get more work done that way.
All
All right,
right.
I'll see y'all in the morning.
Yeah, take care.
All right. So the evening comes and goes without any incident, and you get up the next day and you have breakfast, and then you meet at the office. We'll say it's 10 a.m. All right.
The only thing is, I don't want to lose sight of the books in case it really is just the books, but I'm not really sure where to go from here on that. So
Yeah, there seems to be some, like those claw marks on the window and along the wall. Definitely indicate that someone got in that way. You don't think that there was some college boys, there was an indication they like to dress up in wolves' heads or dogs' heads. You may have had some claws and were doing a prank of taking some books or something from a nearby neighbor as a hazing.
It could have been
Maybe.
old marks too.
Right.
Some damage from pulling furniture through the window at some point to get something in there.
I'm not entirely
I've seen a few things
unconvinced.
like that before.
Mm.
We could probably
but-
ask the mother. He might know if they're
Or it could
fresh
be
or
just
not.
a wolf. The old lady saw something that looked like a wolf or dog, even just a large dog.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying they came in and took the books, but that could have been what made the marks at least.
Yeah. Well, we could take a look at it. It's not going to be that hard to tell if those are recent marks or not, because you can tell by the weathering. So
Did Kimball say he was leaving town or just that he had something
by the
to
end of the
attend to
week, I
yesterday?
think he
By the
said
end
He
of the
was
week,
going
okay.
back to New York. Yes.
Right.
he probably wants this all cleared up by the end of the week, I suspect.
Sure. Okay.
Well, I'm interested enough, mainly from where's the brother at? But yeah, we got to keep a focus on the books.
Well, I want to do some digging into this family in general. Maybe it'll
Well,
lead to some
if
stuff.
somebody's stolen them in perhaps an effort to try to make money, we could always canvass any local booksellers and see if anybody's
Very
tried to
true.
sell,
Used bookstores.
thinking they were worth money.
Natty, when the old guy at the cemetery said that there had been some write-ups in the paper, did he say it had been a few years back, or did you get the feeling it was more recent?
No, this was a few years back.
Okay,
I
so
suspect that the
maybe that's
ones
what
that
he was
we
talking
found
about.
is from there.
Right. Okay.
I'm more interested in, because I don't think we're going to find a whole lot more in the newspaper than what we found. I could be wrong. But I might want to check out the police department and find out what reports there have been about that area, or maybe if there's been any rash of recent incidents in that area, burglary or anything else.
We might also want to talk to the priest at St. Clair's, see if he has anything to say about it.
Yeah. No, that might be a good way of seeing him, and then going over and seeing the old lady if she's still alive. Since that would be
That should
all
be
in
easy
the
to
same
find
neck
out.
of the
Yeah, that
woods.
should be easy enough to find out. All right.
Well, who wants to take what then?
Well, how do we want to do it? So one person goes to talk to the priest and the old woman. One person talks to the police. Una, what was your idea?
Checking to see if anybody's been selling books, used books.
That's right. That's a good idea too.
Since we know some of the titles that are missing.
I feel like you'd have good lead on that, being a journalist. I'll take the priest and the old lady.
And Una, since this guy liked to buy a whole lot of used books in the first place, maybe they knew the man too. Maybe we can get a little bit more insight about him.
Yeah.
Good idea.
All right. Well, then I guess I will. You want me to hit the police department first, or you want me to hit the priest?
Yeah, and maybe see if, aside from everything else, see if they just know anything about this family. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I'll hit the police, and then I'll hit the church and the old lady. So.
All right. Everybody do luck rolls.
Ooh, hard success.
See, that's the interesting part. There is no luck.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have had you.
3d6 times 5.
Right.
Yeah. Well, average at least.
Okay.
All right. Nope.
It's just a regular pass.
Okay. And surely you didn't pass.
Hard. No, it was a
You
hard.
got a hard. Well, you passed. All right. So Natty, you were going to the police department.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you looking for specifically?
Well, I was going to see if I could find first of all, see if Officer Freely still worked there. Though it's been a while, he probably retired.
Well, he's actually the constable. He's pretty old, but he remains sort of the one in charge. But the incidents like in the newspaper, he barely remembers anything about that. College kids get into everything.
Yeah, you're telling me.
The town's already got a spooky reputation, so the college kids are just going to keep playing that up every chance they get. All the new college kids get hazed. And his opinion is it's just good old boys having fun. There's nobody's getting hurt.
Okay.
Just a few people getting scared. Maybe a few people getting hurt, but not getting hurt that bad.
Any thing about this Douglas character, this guy that owns this house?
No, he has no record whatsoever.
All right.
Nor does Thomas Kimball.
Well, thank you, Constable. Anything recent in that area?
Not that I've heard of, no.
Okay, well, you have a safe, good day, all right?
All right, thank you. Mrs. Ward passed away 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was quite old. Quite a character. Most people that still live in the area remember her as she was an ultra religious banana logo.
What was her denomination?
Catholic.
All right. Then I guess my next best place is the priest at St. Clair.
Okay, so you're heading there.
All right.
And Shirley, you were heading to.
I will do some digging on this family, just in general, if they've appeared in the newspaper at all, or any records of them, anything like that.
There are a few records of the Kimballs. There's nothing particular in Arkham that made them stand out. However, the Kimballs are pretty well known in New York as textile manufacturers.
Yeah, that's where Kimball said he was going after. Yeah, right. That makes sense. Did it say anything about Douglas's last known profession was librarian, I guess, still, or is that?
No. What somebody had said earlier was that he used to go to the library.
Oh, okay. Is there any record of him having a job at all, any kind of career?
Nope.
All right.
No, the Kimballs have money.
Right. Yeah.
So the house is probably worth quite a bit. I mean, it's a very nice house. Yard's not kept up, but the house is actually in a very good location. And Una, what were you looking for?
I'm going to go check with some of the bookstores, like the deal in used books, to see if anybody's tried to sell those, not knowing they're not really worth anything.
Yeah. About the most you get is a friendly sarcastic response. It's like, I've got 17 copies of that book on my shelf. I wouldn't buy them.
Yeah. I'm just asking. I'm doing my due diligence on something here, and I do appreciate your help, though.
Well, it sounds like I wouldn't think that his opinion is I wouldn't think that anybody would steal those books unless they were just completely ignorant of them.
And did are they, any of the shops or the shop that I check with, do they know Thomas or Douglas?
Ah, that's a good question. Yes, a couple of them do. Um, a couple of them say that years ago he used to occasionally show up and buy a book, and then he started getting them to order things for him. Whenever something new would come out, he would have them order it so that he could just come and pick it up, or they could deliver it to his place. But that hasn't happened for years.
Oh, okay. So, years, nothing
Couple years.
recently.
Nothing recently.
Okay. All right.
One of them might even say, I thought maybe he moved away or something.
Seems strange considering how frequently he was getting books.
People who come here, our patronage is pretty solid. People come here all the time.
Especially with especially with the pulp stuff and the recent serials. Yeah,
he liked the pulp stuff, but he also liked the classics, and he liked reading them over and over again. And he was quite an I don't know what you'd say, an aficionado of fiction. Often would get lost in a book. He'd come in, when he did come in here, he'd come in here and sit in the corner and read for a couple of hours before he'd realize how long he'd been here, and then he'd purchase something and leave.
Friendly enough sort?
Not quiet.
Kept to himself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Of course. And so the three of you, I assume, come back together at some point. Oh, you were going to go talk to the priest, Nettie.
Right.
Father Sean Kirkpatrick, sorry. I think it's Kilpatrick. Oh, yes, I remember the young boy. He'd come, oh, my Irish accent's awful. He'd sit out there in the cemetery and read, sometimes into the evening.
Lose track of time, would he?
Oh, yeah. Quite a solitary fellow. Wondered why he wasn't out working, but perhaps they had money and he didn't have anything else to do. Lost in the clouds, that boy was.
Yeah, from what I gather, the family did have money, so he was one of the fortunate ones that didn't have to work. You wouldn't happen to know, because you are around here. I noticed that there was a whole bunch of write-ups at one point of stuff going on over at the cemetery.
Well, I was warned a long time ago that any place in like Arkham and some of these other towns out here in Massachusetts that have a reputation for ghosts and goblins, and it goes with the territory. But I assure you, the dead remain dead.
Oh, I quite agree. Though your former parishioner didn't believe that, Miss Hilda.
Hilda Ward. Now there was a special woman. She in every church there's always one of them. God rest her soul. Quite a
real holy roller, eh?
I suppose you could say that. Yes, quite religious. Sure, the devil was around every corner.
Oh yeah, my Aunt May's that way.
Now the Kimballs, the ones you're talking about, they didn't attend church. Never saw them in church. But they lived just through the woods, so I became familiar with them.
Yeah. I've been checking it out. There was an incident at the house. Some stuff was missing.
Oh,
and I figured maybe, having read something, maybe the frat boys were, using the cemetery and were doing some type of hazing activity. You know how they like to, hey, we dare you to do this, and the silly stuff they do.
Well, perhaps, but they're good boys. They're not usually into breaking and entering. That's a little
Yeah, I
bit
understand
beyond.
that one. Yeah, usually it's just carousing and having a wee bit too much to drink, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, I had heard some stuff about the cemetery because I guess Miss Ward had phoned it in a couple times to Officer Free, Constable Freely, I should say.
Yes, I have. Some of those incidents were before I came here, but indeed, I've never seen anyone dancing in our cemetery at night.
Well, if they did, you knew that they probably had something good to drink.
That's very possible.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to take up your time. I know that you have, souls to save, Father, and I appreciate you taking the time to answer my few questions.
Of course.
All right.
And now I'll get back to practicing my Irish accent. And I promise in a couple of years it'll be much better than it is. All right. So can I assume you all meet back at the house?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You arrive back at the house as once again Mr. Kimball is about to leave for the. I'm glad I caught you. I will be gone for approximately 4 or 5 hours, and then I will be back in the evening.
All
Here are
right.
the keys.
All right. We'll make sure we lock up like last time.
Do you have anything you wanted to talk to him about before he leaves?
Yeah. All right.
Did you want to bring up the shaving kit?
Yeah, I said you did notice that his shaving kit was still here.
Is it?
Yeah, you would think a man usually takes at least certain basic necessities, and one thing a man usually takes is his shaving kit so he can take care of the bare necessities.
Are you saying that some of his things are here?
Oh
I was
yes.
not aware of this. To be perfectly honest, I haven't gone into his room. I figure that's an invasion of privacy.
Well, we're a full. We when we investigate, we make sure that we cover all the bases. We don't want a client to come back at us and go, "Why did you tell me about this?"
I understand.
Yeah, although we keep our mouths quiet about anything we find that isn't pertinent, but I figured you'd want to know that his shaving kit was there, and he didn't seem to take a whole lot of any clothing with him except the clothes on his back.
That is quite odd. Well, I assume that you'll solve this case soon.
Well, yes, we plan to. We've been slowly checking things out.
Mr. Kimball, do you have any idea where he might have gone?
None whatsoever.
None.
He could have gone to the South Seas or the bottom of the globe for all I know. He never discussed such things with us.
Right.
And not even your sister? He wouldn't even have left her a note?
Well, my sister arrived here, as I say, almost a year ago, and no note.
You know what
haven't
happened?
Noticed. Go ahead.
Your brother didn't keep a diary or something like that, did he?
I just don't know. I mean, I'm sure it would be somewhere. He obviously spent most of his time in the library. But if there's anything I can do you think we should alert the authorities, the police?
It wouldn't hurt to at least put a missing persons out. It's
agree.
been a year now, and you now know he didn't take his shaving kit or other things. You don't want the police, the constables fingering you since you didn't say anything about it.
Well, I haven't been here I only arrived a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you know how small towns are. The first people they'll point towards is the outsider.
Hardly an outsider, but I am a well-known businessman. I understand what you're saying. Well, continue and tell me what you find. Perhaps you'll turn up what happened, and then we can approach the authorities with more information. I just don't think something happened to you.
Oh, I don't know. That's why we're checking it out, and that's why I mentioned it to you. I figured you might have a clue. That might help trigger something, a memory, or sometimes just a little thing that helps you go, "Oh yeah."
I mean, literally, he doesn't even correspond with me. So I came because my sister told me to.
Forgive me if this is a personal question, Mr. Kimball. Did you two have some sort of falling out, or have you never been very close?
Just never. When we were children, I mean, we were, of course, close, but he was older than I was, and he liked to, as I say, he was always an avid reader. I grew out of him. I went to college. I took over my father's business, the textile industry. He wasn't interested at all in that. And of course, nobody forced him because we have some money. So he was just preferred to be here by himself. Sorry, I can't be of more help.
I'm just going to kind of stand back and watch him. Can I tell, is he telling the truth when Hardcastle and Courtney are asking their questions?
Do a psychology roll on him.
That's actually hard.
Very good. Okay. When they made it clear to him that his brother's clothes and shaving kit were still here, he was generally surprised. So it's a weird thing to look at him, but he didn't really even give it a second thought that his brother was missing. Just thought that he was off somewhere, but if his clothes were here, now it's starting to sort of run through his mind that something might have happened. But he doesn't seem at all dishonest. If anything, he's a little effete and is puzzled why you haven't solved the case in the few hours you've been working on it. But he's not impolite. He knows how to be polite. That's what you get out of him. And you've got a heart, so that's pretty much what it is.
I'll wait till he leaves before I say anything.
So very shortly after that, he leaves and leaves you the keys once again.
Hey, Natty.
Well,
you ever hear, and Una too, actually, y'all ever hear of those? This is a big fancy house. They obviously have a lot of money. Have you ever heard of old houses having like hidden passageways and such? He said he spent a lot of time in the library. I'm wondering if maybe there was a little place he hid himself into or something.
Well, not only that, but we could check through the books slowly but surely. Maybe he left something in one of the books.
And, it's terrible to think, but perhaps maybe he wandered into this little space and didn't come out again. Yeah.
Yeah, his brother seemed genuinely concerned when you brought that shaving kit and the clothes up, Natty. I truly believe he did not realize that Douglas could actually be missing.
Yeah, I thought he might take a little offense that we actually looked. That's why I kind of covered it with, part of our services is making sure we check every bit.
Okay. So you're going to go back to the library?
Yeah. We're going to do a thorough search, shelf by shelf.
Okay.
Book by.
Before you touch anything.
Photographs.
photographs, and we need to see if we notice anything was missing from yesterday.
Good idea, Una.
Yeah,
Very
good idea. You see, she pays for herself.
Because you said that, you guys walk down the hall and you step into the library. And Una, you took photographs, and it's the first thing you look at is the bookcases. There are more missing books. You notice it immediately that there are holes where there weren't holes.
If nothing else, Natty, I think we need to stake this place out tonight. Keep an eye on it. See if anyone comes and goes.
Absolutely.
Missing books are Les Miserables by Victor Hugo, The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, and A Study in Scarlet by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Interesting. I think we need to watch this place tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna check. First place I'm gonna check is that window. Any new marks?
Do a spot hidden.
Oh, extreme.
Okay. You think, yeah, possibly. And you were talking about like checking to see if they were old. It definitely looks like fresh paint scratches, that they've been made. But you got an extreme.
Mm-hmm.
You also, as you're looking, you think there might be something in the carpet.
There we go.
All right, so you hunker down, and you can see that there are little bits of dirt in the carpet, maybe mud or dirt. There's an overall shape to the dirty patch. It looks like the front end of a human foot, but a bare foot. And because you've got an extreme, as you're looking there, your eye sort of glances over, and you notice that in the chair where he would sit, that there is a cloth pocket on the side of the thing. There is a pencil sticking out of it, and you can see there is a square shape inside the.
All right, Oni, I want to take a photo of this, of the window, but this here kind of looks like a footprint. What do you think?
Now that you mention it, that's strange. Is it a person's foot, barefoot?
Yeah, take a look at that windowsill. It looks like those are fresh marks.
Looks like a barefoot person walking on their tiptoes, like they're trying to be quiet.
Our little book magpie returned. And I'll take a picture of the windowsill as well.
Okay.
And I'll
just
go
taking
over
pictures of everything again.
And I go over to the chair. Goes, it's a good thing I bent over. I noticed something on this chair. I pull out the sleeve, pull out the pencil in the book. Maybe the pencil is stuck in the book.
Oh, it's stuck in the spine of the book, and it definitely is a journal.
Ah, the journal.
Oh,
Natty.
Nice work.
Good eye.
Yeah, I wouldn't have noticed it if I hadn't had to bend over to take a look at the dirt. So
You could sit in the chair. You could sit at the desk.
I think we should sit at the desk so we can all look at it together.
Okay. Who is going to read the journal?
I think Uni should have the pleasure of that, since she's the only one that hasn't read yet.
Okay. So Uni picks it up for a moment, and she starts looking at it, and you notice this look of odd concern that sort of comes over, like almost like you get the impression almost like she doesn't understand quite what she's reading. And then she looks up at you with an odd sort of smile, and she says, let me read some of this to you.
You guys got to hear this.
You can just start wherever you want. These are typical entries.
This quote right here. I personally think the doctor was a quack in that he failed to take responsibility for his actions. Who could blame the fiend for his terrible revenge? So many deaths. I think the doctor should be ashamed of his irresponsibility. I don't think I will visit him again. And then later, it's funny how the priest Adolphe is so possessed by evil thoughts and actions, while the young Satan is incapable of sin. I think there is a lesson to be learned. They don't seem to make any sense. And here's another one. Baroness Karen Blixen is so stalwart. Her descriptions are so vivid. I am sure I know exactly what it would be like to be living in Africa. We would go on safari together. I wonder what is involved in coffee production. And here's another one. The captain invited me to dinner aboard the Nautilus. He told me of the many splendors to be found under the sea. The food was amazing and plentiful. I look forward to spending a great deal of time here beneath the sea. Thanks to you, Mr. Verne.
An odd book review.
Mr.
It's a series of
Verne.
odd book reviews.
Yeah, they're definitely odd duck.
Yes.
This whole family is.
Um,
It's almost
Talking
like you went into the books.
Yeah, exactly. How strange.
and then as you go on, you find these. Read these in order.
5 years ago, I made a new friend today, or rather, I should say this evening. His name is Edward Kaplan. Apparently, he had been listening to me read aloud, as sometimes I do. He told me how much he enjoyed my narrations. Those who know me often express how antisocial I am, and yet, despite my nature, I like this guy and want to get to know him better. Who cares what he looks like? Then 3 years ago, Eddie is back, and I am surprised how much I missed him. The topic of marriage and relationships came up, and I asked him if he had ever been hitched. He laughed and gave me a big smile and said, I guess I ain't the marrying kind. And then another 2 years ago. Convention is the problem. No one will ever accept our friendship as something normal. Sometimes I want to run away and not deal with these conflicts, and sometimes all I can think of is the smell of him. Last entry, one day before he vanished, Eddie has asked me on numerous occasions if I would like to be with him forever. There are things I would have to leave behind, but these are only material things. He promises me a world of amazing adventures. As my final entry, I would like to be brave and express my true and genuine love for Eddie. I think it's time we were together in his world.
How sad.
I
guess that would explain where Douglas has gone off to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, let's be honest here, though. That kind of relationship, in the world we live in, isn't very acceptable.
Yeah, I understand why they would have run off. It's just
no wonder his family doesn't know.
Exactly.
So I wonder where they met.
I would like to look into this Eddie Kaplan if we maybe he would maybe we could track him down. But also I still think we should stay. Whoever's stealing these books, they're coming at night. We should stake this place out tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. We need to stake this place.
Those odd book reviews, though, like he was in the story.
That's very strange. Yes, I mean, they did say at the bookstores when I went that he got so involved in his reading he would just sit in a corner for hours before realizing he was there. And
I guess he just has a very vivid imagination.
Yeah,
really gets deep into his books, doesn't he?
Yeah.
We need to check outside underneath this window. Maybe this time there'll be better signs of where the perp came from.
Right. So you guys, yeah, you quickly run outside because Scooby-Doo is almost found. There's definitely more sign that something is torn up the grass a bit, and you think that you find an impression that could be the front end of a human foot, like somebody walking on their tiptoes, and it seems to be heading towards that path in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try to follow it now?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
let me
Maybe we'll
check.
see-
It's not
find
that
some more
it's
clues.
not that clear of
Okay.
a trail, but you definitely know where it's going.
Well, now that we know what we're looking for, maybe we'll see some, what do they call it? Those hunters call it some spore, some
Mhm.
clues, almost feel like Daniel Boone here now.
All right, so you're going to head along the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the person came again this way last night, maybe we missed, or maybe there's something new to see.
And now that we have an idea what to look for.
Or at least recover one of the books if they drop
Mhm.
something, so we can show Thomas we've found something.
All right. So you walk through the path and you come out into the shady, overgrown area of the cemetery. What do you do?
Looking
It's-
around for the clue, for maybe the footprint, see if there's anything that's been disturbed recently.
Okay. Everybody do spot hiddens.
Yeah, that's a fail.
Hard success.
Holly.
No, sorry, I didn't.
Okay.
It failed.
Natty, as you're looking around, there's at least one of the tombs, the flat tombs, that looks like maybe it's had some disturbance around it. The weeds are kind of smashed down a little. The moss that's growing all over it and on the top seems to have been a little flattened, like somebody was sitting there.
Hey, Una, Shirley, look at this. The mold has been kind of squished recently.
Who's buried here? Just
We'll say
no name from there. Yeah.
no name from 1835. It's an old, it's maybe even 17 something. Very good.
Said unknown, I'd say there might be some gold underneath there.
Is there anything else strange with it? Just the squished down moss?
Well, it kind of looks like someone sat here.
Yeah.
Like they said that Douglas used to do.
Oh, yeah. You don't think Douglas is doing this, do you?
Well, so hear me out. The man obviously loves his books, feels like he can't face his family because of the person he loves. So he runs away, but he doesn't go far, comes back and gets his books every so often. Maybe he's the thief.
That's a fantastic hypothesis, Shirley.
Doesn't
Yeah,
want to
I
face
like
his
that.
family.
I mean,
maybe he's living with Eddie somewhere in Arkham, comes back and gets his books when he wants to read something.
yeah, but he still has the keys. Why not use the keys?
He lost
That's
the
a
keys.
good point. That is a good point.
Oh, Unas did say he might have lost it. That's a top possibility too.
I think stakeout's a good idea.
Maybe if we looked up this Eddie cap, maybe they're just living in Arkham together somewhere, wherever Eddie lives.
Could be.
Yeah, we could check the directory.
You want to check the directory? Do you want to check public record?
Public. Yeah, we'll check the directory first here because this house probably has a public directory in the house. If we don't find something there, then we go to Public Works.
You find the Arkham phone book. It's probably within the last 5 years. There is no Kaplan.
Maybe he doesn't have a number. Doesn't have a phone.
Or maybe he doesn't live here. What Douglas said something about his world, like maybe he's just making a reference to them living in another town or something.
Yeah, that's could
And
be
more
it.
fabulous, like Boston.
Yes. New
That's-
York, somewhere out of here.
Yeah. In Boston, New York, they're known to, tolerate that a little bit more too.
Well, I guess you could still look up the public record, right?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Okay.
While we're doing that, I'm gonna get us some flashlights and
Yeah, good stakeout equipment. Yeah.
a thermos of coffee. Let's make sure we have a
Mhm.
good meal tonight
2.
before we go out. Yeah,
Good idea.
2 thermoses. You're right.
All right. You spend a little time going over to public records, and you can find no trace of anyone named Eddie
Big
Kaplan
Kaplan.
living in Arkham.
I guess you're right. He's just probably not local.
Yeah.
Now, I'm
know,
not a very well-read person. Surely this isn't another literary character he's talking about, is it?
I don't think so. Not the way he was writing about it. It seemed to like how he read or was reading.
You guys could all do idea rolls.
Ooh, that might be an extreme success.
Nope, I'm completely clueless.
Yeah, that's an extreme success.
That's just a regular success.
Okay. Well, to Shirley, it occurs obviously first, and Una. Once Shirley points it out, it kind of becomes obvious. The man lived in a fantasy world. That he
Oh yeah, for sure.
would read a book and he would dive right into it and become part of that, and probably lived out when he wasn't reading. He was probably fantasizing about, oh, I would have tea with Captain Nemo. And, becomes
This Eddie
obvious that all
Kaplan
these
may
people,
not.
but Eddie Kaplan, you've never heard of a book with an Eddie
Right.
Kaplan.
Maybe he made this character up and just is, seeking to escape his reality and used it as an excuse to run off. But you're right, he loved his book so much he came back to try to collect them.
Well, we'll see tonight who's been nabbing all these books.
Yeah.
Certainly
2 birds with
someone.
1 stone, solve both mysteries.
What do you think? Should we be somewhere just off the path or just right before the house so that once he heads to a certain point, we can block him off?
I was
Why not
thinking
wait
of
in the
just
house?
lying in wait in the library in the dark.
Yeah, in the house.
Yeah, well, one of us should be outside.
One person outside, sure.
Yeah, kind
covering
of
that
block his
exit.
way from getting out in case he decides to take the, out the window.
Right.
Sounds like you're volunteering, Natty.
Yes, but that means I get one of the thermoses of coffee.
All right, you got it.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Well,
Black, no sugar.
to make it easy, because as you look around, if you're going to conceal yourself, obviously you can be in the library. You can hide behind the tool shed.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Or you can hide in the woods on the path.
Hide on the tool shed. I'm gonna be on the side, so that you can't see me from the woods or that side of the house easily.
Do we each cover one area? Like, I'd hate for one of us to miss him, or like for us to miss, because we've got the path, the shed, the library itself. Do we cover all of our bases?
I think you two are going to be waiting for him in the library. I'm just going to be making sure to shut the back door, so to speak.
Keep your eye maybe on the window and the path, Natty.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Do you think we're going to need our guns?
This
I don't think
doesn't
so.
seem like the type of guy, but I don't
think
like
so.
going anywhere without it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I'm going to do a quick maintenance check, and I hope I don't have to use it. I hate using it.
No, I don't even see a reason to. It's not. This is his house.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so get this clear. Natty, you are going to hide behind the shed. I also could mention that you could hide on either side of the house, and peek around the corner. But
I'd rather be near the shed because that puts me, when I need to block off the window or the exit towards the path.
Okay. And then Shirley, where are you going to be?
I'll be in the library.
You're going to be in the library. And Una?
I'll be in the library as well, but
also
in
in
a
the library.
strategically separate
Yes,
area
yeah.
from Shirley.
Okay.
Now the question is, what are we going to do if it's him? I mean, we can't stop a man from entering his own home and taking his own
Stop
things.
you!
Do we
Don't steal
confront
your
him?
own books.
Yeah.
Well, that at that time point, we can get an answer of why he's doing what he's doing,
That's true. Just
and then we can
peacefully
let him
approach him, right?
and let him decide how he wants to deal
Okay.
with it.
Okay. Let's do that.
Maybe he wants a easy way out of his old life, and this gives him a way of wrapping up without his brother and sister getting all bent out of
Mhm.
shape or digging their nose into things that doesn't belong.
Okay.
Mr. Kimball comes home probably around 7 p.m. and he
Mhm.
sees you're all still there. Oh, you're all still here. Any information or
There have been more books that have gone missing since we were here yesterday. We would like to conduct a stakeout in which we stay hidden in and around the home and monitor to see who it is that's coming in and out, taking these books.
Are you saying someone is breaking into this house in the night?
That is our belief.
That's quite frightening and disturbing.
If you want, sir, you could take you could stay at one of the local hotels, and we'll stake out the place. That way, you're safe.
I was thinking exactly that. You don't think there's going to be any terrible danger? Are you armed?
We are always armed.
In the event, but I don't think there will be any danger.
Yes, the man is stealing books, and books that are not incredibly valuable. I doubt that we'll have to do anything more than whoever the perp is, have a talk with them.
Bring them to justice is what you need to
Yes,
do.
of course.
Yes, of course.
I don't want to have any part of that, so I think I'll take your advice and I will go stay at the Arkham Arms.
Okay.
All right. We'll contact you
best
if
hotel
anything
in
occurs.
All right. So he packs up a night bag and leaves. So you guys are there. All right. So what time do you guys get into position?
We have no
Probably
idea when
fairly
it comes,
early.
So yeah.
Out of just the eagerness, yes, like.
Well, he's probably going to be looking to see if the lights are on. He probably knows his brother. He probably waits till after his brother leaves. I figure his brother probably goes to bed probably around 9 or 10.
Right. Yeah, because he hasn't noticed. So
yeah, he ain't gonna go near the house till you see the lights go off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna have to go outside ahead of time.
But if he's watching the house and he sees his brother leave and all the lights are out, he might try to come in early. He thinks his brother's
that's
gone.
true. I'm gonna set up ahead of time.
Right.
And
I say we get into position after Douglas leaves. I mean,
yeah. I'm glad I brought those extra woolly socks.
Mm-hmm.
You remember what happened after the Potemkin incident?
Sure do.
That was.
Yeah, I was sick for 2 weeks.
All right. So you guys get into position, and it's a chilly night. So you guys have your coats and stuff. Inside the house, you don't have to, obviously, it's warm. Silence can be deafening. And is probably least silent for Natty because he's outside, and some insects and animals have started to chirp and make noises, though there's not as much as there is in the summer. Inside the house, it's quiet and it's muffled. You've got all those books on the wall, so there's no noise. But if the two of you whisper to one another, are any of you looking out the window? Or are you both looking out the window?
Looking at the window.
Well, you're looking at the window. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So hours go by a number of hours. You guys have your thermoses of coffee. And probably Shirley and Una whisper back and forth to one another just to kind of keep each other company. Around midnight or so, Nettie, do a listen roll.
A regular success.
Okay. You hear something rhythmical off in the distance. It sounds, you almost think it has the cadence of like a horse galloping. Ba-da-bum, 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 like this. And at this point, the woods are black.
I'm going to crouch down, stay close to the shed,
Okay.
and keeping extra quiet.
Shadows inside of shadows are completely invisible. But the neighbor's house down there, you can see that there's no trees directly where you are. There's a moon out, so it's not a full moon, but there's a little bit of silvery blue light everywhere. The thumping gets closer, and something crouched down stops right at the edge of the woods and the yard. All you can see is sort of a vague shadow, but it seems to sort of look around, and it has an odd shape to it, more like an animal than a person. And with great swiftness, it suddenly moves across the yard. And as it does, you can see that it has sort of the cadence of a person, but an oddly shaped person. There's definitely a hairiness or a dog-like sort of aspect to it. And it moves maybe 20 feet into the yard, and with amazing sort of grace, it leaps up to the window, and its claw, or whatever it is, you see its claw slip underneath the window pane and lift it up. Okay. Do you want to do anything? This surprises the hell out of you, so you're kind of stunned for a moment. But now that it's actually getting ready to go inside, do you want to do anything? I'll get back to you guys in a second.
Not yet. I mean,
Okay.
I'm letting it go in. But how much shock am I in, considering what I can see in the...
You can do a sanity roll.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because there's just enough there that I'm like going, well, I made it. So
just take 1 point for
yeah,
kind of being in shock. Shirley and Una, you're in there and you're probably quietly whispering. And as you are, you suddenly hear a thump, the thump, the thump, and something lands or grabs a hold to the outside. You hear a scratching sort of noise suddenly. And in the dark, you can see the square of the window with, like I say, the sort of bluish outside, long, like 3-inch long fingernails come underneath the windowsill and lift it up. And this black dog-like shadow starts climbing into the room. What do the two of you do? You guys need to do a sanity roll. You guys all have flashlights too.
Mm-hmm. Pass.
To pass.
Okay. You're holding your breaths, so you're you can both take 1 point of sanity, but you don't scream out or anything like that. There is suddenly an overpowering stench like a dead body that fills the room. Do you want to do anything?
I'm just going to observe it for now. Since I
Okay.
have my wits about me, I'm just going to watch what it does.
It slips into the room. You hear it hit the ground. It's oddly quiet, but that sort of wafting nausea. You guys can do constitution rolls from the smell.
Oh, I failed that.
I passed.
Okay. I think that Una is going to go like that. She doesn't necessarily do it, but you see the creature obviously coming into the shadows of the room and reaching up for some books. But when Una makes that slight little noise, it suddenly freezes like an animal that's heard a noise. And then it moves farther into the room, and the light suddenly comes on as it reaches over and pulls the little string on the lamp. And what is in front of you is a 7-foot tall, monstrous dog man thing with huge snarling, well, he's not snarling, but huge canine teeth. It's naked. It's not wearing clothing. It's got a couple of books tucked under its arm. And as it turns around and looks at you, it suddenly sort of howls. So Natty, you suddenly hear it. You see it go inside and you suddenly hear it start to howl and the lights come on. You guys can do sanity rolls again.
All of us, or just the two inside?
Just two inside.
Ooh,
But
that's
Natty, you
that's
can.
a 99. Jesus.
Oof.
Ooh, 37, that's a pass.
Okay. Shirley, I see D6 of sanity.
4.
4. And Una, D4. Of sanity.
2.
Very good. All right. You guys are like this. But I'd like the two of you to also do spot hidden rolls. Natty, what are you going to do? You've seen this go inside.
I am doing my job of covering the exit.
Okay. I also think that Shirley screams.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
and when I hear that, I pull out my gun because that means that something bad is happening. I'm going to be ready.
And Una, how did you do?
No, I'm Shirley screams and I'm staring at her instead of anything else.
Okay. And Shirley, did you pass your spot hidden?
No.
Okay. All right. The thing turns and with the books under its arm and leaps towards the window. And without, it almost seems like without even touching the sill or the window, it like acrobatically leaps out the window. And Natty, you suddenly see it come flying out, and it lands on the ground outside the window, and it immediately sees you because you've moved a little bit away from the shed.
Halt! We just want to know why you're taking the books.
And it halts for a moment, and then it immediately sprints for the path in the woods.
All right.
I will run to the window. Natty, go after it. And
I am.
Grab Shirley and shake her. We have to go after
we gotta go. We gotta go.
By the way, do I need to make another sanity check since I did see it leap out the window?
Yeah,
you can
do another sanity. You can do another sanity roll.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. And I passed that one.
Yeah, no,
So
we
should I lose another
books.
point?
Just a point. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just like,
So it run. Are the two of you going to come out of the house?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're
Right.
climbing out the window.
I'm in
Or you can run
hot
away.
pursuit.
Yeah.
The flashlight on. I'm in hot pursuit.
Okay.
Right after Natty.
The thing can run rather swiftly.
Oh, I'm quite sure it's running faster than I am, but I'm at least trying to. I'm just following down the path. I'm hoping to catch where he went.
All right. We won't say that Shirley and Una catch up to you, but they are following along the path. All of your flashlights are on. Natty, when you come out of the woods into the cemetery, the creature has stopped next to that grave that you had been at earlier. It's facing away from you. It's got its hand sort of posed on the top of the tomb, and the book's under its arm, and it seems obviously like it's waiting for you.
All right, I'm going to because I've seen how quickly this creature moves, and a couple other things. Yes. And well, the other thing is this: if it wanted to hurt one of us, it would have already done so, and it's stealing books. At least that's my. So I'm gonna put my gun back in my shoulder holster. I suspect because he didn't hurt the ladies, he could have hurt me, and I'm gonna go. All we want to do is find out why you're taking the books. The brother of the owner is concerned about the thefts.
It sort of straightens itself up just a little bit, and it's scary big, like 7 feet tall.
My God, maybe I made a big mistake putting that gun away.
And by now, the women have sort of caught up to you. Just as the thing turns around and looks at you, Natty, do a spot hidden.
All right. Hard success.
Hard success. As it turns around and looks at you, and it sort of has yellowy, glowing eyes, you can see that despite the fact that it has dog-like features, that it also has Douglas's features. Do another sanity roll. And the ladies, you see this too as you come running up.
And I made that one too. Boy, I'm getting lucky.
Oh no, that's a fail.
Rolling terribly.
No. Douglas?
So if you fail that one, do a D4. So you know who I am.
Only because I saw your picture in the house.
My brother hired you.
Well, he was concerned about the book thefts. What surprised us is he wasn't concerned about you. You left your shaving kit there. Now your clothing was taken.
Listen, I don't mean anybody any harm. I just wanted some of my books to take with me.
I don't have an issue with that, but your brother hired us to find out why the books were gone.
You can't. You cannot tell my brother.
Like he'd believe me anyway.
Don't tell him. You see, it was a while back that I met a friend.
Kaplan, right?
Ah, so you know that.
I did find your journal.
Yes, Eddie Kaplan. I used to come here and sit on this grave right over here. I used to sit here and read out loud. And one day when I was sitting here, I looked over, and there was one of, he sort of points at himself, says, sitting there listening to me and smiled and grinned. And I didn't run away. We became friends over a couple of years, and he finally convinced me to join him, to become what he is. Arkham has a long tradition of ghouls, and that's what I am now. We live in tunnels beneath the ground. We eat the dead. But Eddie told me that this entrance was going to be closed soon, that we were moving on. And so, we had a lot of fun for a year or so, and I just wanted some of my books to take with me. Now you know, but you can't tell anyone. Don't tell my brother. Let him think that I'm dead.
Okay, underground tunnels, things that eat bodies.
Look, we're part of nature. There's lots of animals that eat the dead. We're just,
there are buzzards and there are a few other things.
we're just one of them.
So you're
Now
not going to be stealing any more books?
we're closing this entrance.
All right.
I'll leave my brother in peace, but I got the books that I wanted.
Then what are we supposed to tell him?
Make
I mean, he
something
wouldn't
up.
believe this anyways.
Make something up or tell him nothing at all. I don't care, but now I'm going to go. And believe me, if I find out that you said anything, I can find you again. And with one gesture, he slides the whole top of the grave off. And you can see that there is no coffin, that it's just a hole into the darkness. And he very, very acrobatically sort of leaps and slides down into the hole, and with his claws he moves the thing shut and disappears into the darkness. And that's the end of our story.
Holy Jehoshaphat.
Good story.
Don't think we can ever tell anybody about that.
No, we just buy replacement books, charge the brother for those books, and come up with some kind of story that we
That
found.
sounds like a great plan.
Frat boys.
It was totally frat boys.
As far as the brother, we heard a rumor that he was in Paris or Asia or the Orient, something.
Died in Antarctica.
That's interesting. So far in running this, nobody's died. But what none of you actually realize is that you are surrounded. Eddie Kaplan and a number of other ghouls are in the cemetery watching the situation. So if you actually shot
that would be bad.
Douglas.
Oh God.
Yeah, they would immediately show up and
torn us from limb.
Well, they would drag you into the darkness. The last thing you would see is, being dragged down into the dark tunnels below. Had you pushed the tomb open yourselves, you might have climbed down and encountered them underground. In which case, they would have probably wanted to tear you apart. But in that case, Douglas might have intervened and said not to do it. But yeah, Douglas fell in love with a ghoul. And
there's somebody out there for everyone.
Yep. Wow.
Good story.
All right, let me finish
Man
up.
in the school.
Our players included Holly Buto, Stephanie Mann, and Oren Meyer, with myself as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.